So the more I read Ushio to Tora, or Ushio and Tora, or Ushio with Tora, I think it's supposed to be Ushio and Tora, actually. I also think I keep doing that at the start of every one of these reviews. But the more I read of the story, the more I'm starting to realize that I do not remember how events took place. Because the first story in this volume, I could have swore it took place much later within the story. Or maybe it did take place later on in its revival anime. Or rather, I would say it's TV anime, because at first it got like an OVA, then it got a TV anime years later. I believe that came out in like 2014, 2015. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Oh, and before I forget, let's do the house chores. First, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. That way the YouTube algorithm will know that my content is worth watching. As well as, you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Because I am going to be putting out more content. And I am definitely going to be putting out content a bit more frequently than I have been. So stay tuned for that. And it's not just going to be reviews either. You'll see. Oh, also, after subscribing to the channel, make sure you hit that notification icon, and that the bell is ring-a-ding-dingin'. That way you know when I put out a new video. And so let's start talking about Ushio to Tora, Volume 4. Yeah, out of a 56 volume series, we are only on Volume 4 for now. That was a terrible pun, and I should be punished for that. Whatever. So, the first story is more centered towards Ushio's father, Shigure. So, Shigure is part of I guess you call them a Buddhist sect, known as the Horai Kusho, I believe that's what they're called. And they have basically one really important mission, and that is to prevent the awakening of a creature known as Hakumen no Mono. Now, the Beast Spear plays a big part in this. What does it play? We don't know yet. We probably won't know for a few more volumes, I'm guessing. Granted, seeing the anime, I don't quite remember how Hakumen no Mono comes to light. That's why I'm not saying anything. Because I saw the anime like a good long time ago. Like when it fucking came out a long time ago, okay? It's not exactly in my memory bank too much. But anyways, and so Shigure basically mentions to his higher up, and also to his to his fellow priests, that his son had extracted the beast spear, taking it out of the yokai that now his son has deemed Tora, which we all know is actually named Tobimaru. So this pisses off everybody, because apparently they've been training candidates to wield the beast spear, people that naturally had Hokiri, which is a type of like spiritual force. In short, it's ki, okay? It's ki that utilizes spiritual energy, and that kind of energy is the only thing that, well, you can use or to wield the beast spear. However, Ushio is someone who did not have spiritual energy. His Hokiri was awakened, basically, because once he touched beast spear, once he interacted with Tora, that's when he was actually capable of seeing yokai, bakemonos, and all the such. Prior to that, he was ignorant to their existence. which of course that makes these priests mad because, like I said, they had been training hopefuls, people that they considered to be of substantial performance and human capability in order to wield the beast spear. But as we have seen with our own eyes, going by the course of the past 3 volumes, that the spear has chosen Ushio as as its handler. And also, due to the spear, and due to Ushio's personality, this has also made Tora, who was once known as a menace terrorizing the countryside, to now be someone who actually fights alongside humans, mainly because, well, he doesn't want to be fucking killed by the beast spear itself. And so, Ushio's father, Shigure, is told that he's basically supposed to test his son and test whether or not his son is actually capable of handling the beast spear. But Shigure pretty much doesn't just test his son, but also tests Tora. Now, there's another part of this first story as well, and that is the fact that Ushio had learned that his mother is still alive, technically speaking. And he learns this from Umizato, I believe that the thing's name was. The sea priest, basically. And with that knowledge, he confronts his father, which then Ushio learns himself that his father is a Hokurishi who travels around Japan and either seals or destroys yokai. As well as these other priests, they do that as well. Because there's a priest, their job is to either to seal yokai, and there's a priest, their job is to utterly destroy the yokai that they come in contact with. And apparently they keep their eyes on the entire yokai plane throughout all of Japan, as well as throughout the world. It's kind of cool that the rest of the world gets mentioned, because a lot of times in Japanese manga, it's almost as if the only place that's really important is Japan, and that's it. Like, the rest of the world doesn't fucking matter, just Japan's important. And I can understand that, because I believe a lot of comics here in the States, maybe I'm wrong about this, but that it's areas of the United States that are more important that will have like the final standoff than, say, other parts of the country, or other parts of the world. So I totally get that. Alright, so let me get back on track with this, okay? So, as we know, Shigure mentions to his higher-up and his fellow priests that his son has extracted the beast spear. They're mad because they have candidates who are supposed to be the ones to extract the beast spear itself. Also noting that when they tried to open up the doorway that led to the cellar where Tora was kept, would not budge. So that goes right there to show that Ushio is in fact intended to be the beast spear's wielder. But despite all that evidence, these priests still want the beast spear to be in their possession, to be in the possession of their temple sect. And so, while Shigure is basically testing out Tora, the other priests show up. Now, of course, the priests, they try to execute their mission that they never got permission to execute in the first place. They all get basically mollywopped by Shigure and Tora. And Shigure gives Ushio information that if he wants to know more about his mother, he needs to go and visit his uncle in Hokkaido. And thus, that is where the first story ends. The second story is actually my favorite story from the anime, and that is the story about a airline pilot that gets murdered by a yokai named Fusuma, which lives in the sky. Yeah, I don't understand the concept behind that, or like how it can stay up in the sky. But yeah, it's a yokai that lives in the sky, and it's one of the few yokai that Tora has battled before in the past, and his battles with it have always been very annoying. So this story starts off with this yokai destroying his plane, and there is a pilot on the plane who has a young daughter named Yu. Now, she becomes a very prominent character in this story, because the story is more so about her than anything else. In fact, actually, while we have the A plot line of Ushio heading to Hokkaido by air, we have this B storyline alongside with it, with Yu at first not believing her father's best friend that he wasn't involved in the plane incident that had happened. But of course, later on in the story, she learns by seeing herself that, yeah, her father's friend really wasn't lying about anything. And it's a very, there's a couple of heartwarming moments in this story, as well as you really get to see like the dynamic between Tora and Ushio, like Tora's fish out of water dynamic, as well as Ushio, getting to be around people that feel comfortable with him as he is, as well as noticing who Tora is too. And out of everything I've read so far with this series, this felt the most patriotic kind of story out of everything. And I'm not even mad about that. You're proud of your country, be fucking proud of it. And the reason I say this is because, Fusuma, yeah, he got his ass kicked by Tora, and he got his ass kicked by Ushio, but he was not defeated by either one of the two. Instead, he was defeated by a JSDF fighter plane. To me, that was like the author just straight up being like, yeah, I'm proud of being Japanese, I'm proud of Japan, and I'm proud of what our fighter planes can do. And here you go, here's a chapter where a fighter plane takes out a monster. I don't know what else to call it. I'm just calling that pure patriotism. And I respect that. With the help of Tora, they actually managed to land the plane, which has suffered a bunch of heavy damage. And now they're in Sunday, which I don't quite remember how far it is from Hokkaido, but I know that's not near Hokkaido, or maybe it is. Because technically Hokkaido is at the top of Japan. if I remember my geography correctly. If I'm wrong about that, please let me know in the comments down below. And since they are there, Yu has forgiven her father's best friend, and well, actually not forgiven him, but it's like more like she's sorry for assuming that he was the one that killed him. And I really don't think that we're going to see Yu ever again. Because I remember in the anime, she was never seen ever again as well. But then again, I've been told that the anime left a shit ton of story aspect out in order for it to achieve its 39 episode run. Because we're talking about a series that is, I believe it's about 305 chapters total. So yeah, there's a lot that was left out. Probably the best thing about this volume is the fact that we got more characterization for Ushio's father than we ever had before. Prior to this volume, Ushio's father has been seen as, I would say, a comic relief character, or a character that's just there to fill up panel time, and also a character to essentially show us what kind of person Ushio is, to show the heart on the sleeve attitude that Ushio has. But this volume definitely showed us that there was more to Shigure than met the eye, and that he was more than just some middle-aged old man who always messes around with his son. Wait, middle-aged old man always messes around with his son? Oh fuck! I wonder if Tite Kubo was a fan of Ushio to Tora, because Ushio's dad kind of reminds me of Ichigo's dad. Damn. Alright, so what do you guys think of Ushio to Tora Volume 4? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you'd be so kind to give this video a thumbs up, that way the YouTube algorithm will know that my content is worth watching. As well as subscribe to the channel, make sure that bell is a ring-a-ding-dingin'. And share this with your friends, share this with your family, share this with your dog, share this with your cat, share this with whomever you want to share it with. Just get the word out there. Alright, I'll catch you guys later.